The new federal pilot program for regenerative agriculture, a practical overview for farmers and producers. This presentation is about understanding what's actually on the table, what's changed, and how to decide if this fits your land and operation. Why this matters right now. Significant funding is available through existing USDA programs. The new federal focus on regenerative agriculture is linked to soil health, farm viability, and human health. The key shift here is that regenerative ag is no longer fringe and just linked to conservation. It's now being explicitly linked to USDA, HHS, and CMS, which is the US Department of Health and Human Services, which also oversees the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS. This matters because when health agencies get involved, funding tends to persist longer than short political cycles. It's currently December 2025, and the federal government has announced roughly $700 million specifically directed toward regenerative agriculture. Importantly, this is not a brand new grant program with a new application portal or brand new rules. Instead, this funding is being delivered through existing USDA programs. What's new is the explicit framing. Regenerative agriculture is now being tied, like I said, not just to conservation, but human health outcomes. So all these health-related agencies are involved. And it's true, food grown in regenerated soil has more minerals and antioxidants in it. Second is opportunity and risk depend on program fit for your operation. The risk side, programs are still administered through old systems, so discernment matters more than enthusiasm. So our goal here is to discern details to determine if this is the right fit for you. What is regenerative agriculture? Managing land to build soil biology beyond just reducing harm. This means prioritizing microbial life, roots, and aggregation, not just erosion control. So core outcomes are improved soil structure, organic matter, water infiltration, drought resilience. That means that regeneration shows up as soil that infiltrates instead of pond. Crops that handle stress better, fewer emergency inputs over time or inputs at all. The lower long-term input dependence like fertilizers and pesticides can be reduced. Typically, regenerative agriculture is a system of practices, not just one single method. The practices which are regenerative depend on your land, your goals, and the challenges you face. It's often very personalized and can be a mix and match of various practices that are tailored to your situation. The two main USDA programs are EQIP, which is a cost share payments for specific practices, short-term commitments, good for testing or infrastructure upgrades. That's often used for infrastructure like fencing, water lines, cedars. It's practice by practice, not whole farm redesign. The other one is CSP, multi-year whole farm approach, pays for ongoing management improvements, suited for producers already practicing regenerative methods. So CSP rewards what you're already doing. It works best when you already have systems in place. You're refining, not reinventing. So EQIP helps you start things and CSP helps keep doing them. Why many farmers avoid EQIP and CSP is for fear of being locked into unsuitable practices that look good on paper but don't fit real land, complex paperwork, learning curve, and concerns about inspections and loss of flexibilities. These concerns are based on real experiences that some people have had. Many farmers got burned by practices that didn't fit their soils, which they adopted because they didn't understand the full pictures. Inspectors who didn't understand local context, contracts that limited flexibility during drought or market shifts. So if you've been hesitant, you're being mindfully cautious. When applying for these programs does make sense is when you can commit to the required timelines. To expand on this, every funded practice comes with a maintenance period. That means you must keep doing it even if conditions change. Early exit could mean repayment. So this works best when funding supports decisions you've already made, not the ones you're being pushed into, and you want to try or expand regenerative practices. It makes sense also if payments offset real costs or risks, or you have clear goals beyond just chasing money. When you should be cautious is if you're uncertain about which practices fit your land and you need total year-to-year flexibility, or payments don't cover true costs. Practices conflict with your long-term vision. That flexibility matters most for beginning farmers that are still experimenting, operations that are taking place in volatile climates, or mixed use or transitioning land. The hidden risk, checkbox regen. Choosing practices only because they're funded, installing systems mismatched to soil, climate, or scale, creating future management burdens. Good regenerative agriculture is contextual, not standardized. So some practices that might be mismatched, for example, would be cover crops that increase water use in dry region, or grazing systems installed without labor capacity, or perennials planted where markets or management aren't ready. Regenerative outcomes don't come from checking boxes for certain practices. They come from feedback loops by definition. So a smarter way to approach these programs is identify practices that you would adopt anyway. Decide what support would truly help and clarify your land goals. Soil, water, labor, income. So those questions would be, what do I want this land to do better in 5 years? And what problem am I actually trying to solve? And finally, funding should follow strategy, not replace it. Money is a tool, it shouldn't be the architect. What a good application looks like: clear understanding of commitments, practices aligned with your land and capacity, conservative assumptions on time, labor, and yield, willingness to treat participation as an experiment, not a guarantee. So treat the funded practices like a monitored trial, a learning phase, and build in your own observations and adjustments and documentations for yourself, not just for the USDA. Support organizations can help by translating USDA language into farm reality and helping decide if applying makes sense, and avoiding perverse incentives, supporting learning rather than compliance alone. Translating USDA language into farm reality just means translating between soil reality and agency language. So helping decide if applying makes sense is just helping you walk through how to think clearly before signing and avoiding practices that don't fit. This support from the federal program should reduce pressure, not add to it. So the key takeaways are that regenerative funding is real, but it's not free money. Programs reward clarity and preparedness. Small, well-chosen steps outperform big forced changes. You don't have to apply now to apply well later. Next steps is to walk your land with regenerative outcomes in mind by noticing water movement, bare soil, compaction, stress points. Also talk with the peers who have applied or have done the transition from conventional to regenerative agriculture. Find out what their hidden costs were, the unexpected benefits, and things that the NRCS doesn't mention. And learn the basics of EQIP versus CSP. Finally, seek neutral guidance before committing. Living It Systems Institute offers expert permaculture regenerative consultations. We're here for you as a thinking partner with decades of experience in regenerative agriculture. Thank you. Please do feel free to ask questions and open it up for discussion. You can find out more at livingsystems.institute.org. Thank you.